The house has never been this quiet, not in all the years you have lived in it. There were years when quiet was something you had to search for, when the house was full of children, full of noise, full of the particular beautiful chaos of a life being lived at full volume. And you used to step outside sometimes just to hear yourself think. You think about that sometimes, about going outside to find quiet. And you almost want to laugh, because now the quiet finds you without any effort at all, in every room, at every hour, without asking permission. You are not someone who uses the word lonely. It has never been a word that felt available to you, a word that belonged in the vocabulary of the kind of man you were raised to be. Men of your generation did not say they were lonely. They said they were fine. They said they were keeping busy. They said they did not need much, and they said it often enough that they sometimes almost believed it. But the house is quiet, and the days are long, and at some point in the past year, the keeping busy has become harder to sustain, and the fine has become a word you say so automatically that it has lost all connection to what is actually happening inside you. What is actually happening inside you, if you are honest, and you are trying to be honest, at least with yourself, at least in the quiet of the house that is always quiet now, is that you miss people, and the missing has weight, and the weight has been accumulating in ways you have not told anyone about. You have developed a relationship with the television that you are not entirely proud of. It is on in the mornings now, while you have your coffee. Not because you are watching it, but because the sound of other voices in the room is something you have found you cannot quite do without. You have started timing your errands for the middle of the day, the grocery store, the pharmacy, the post office, not because the timing is convenient, but because those are the places where people speak to you, where a cashier says good morning and means nothing by it, and you receive it like something you needed. You have started taking the long way home from everywhere, not for the exercise, though you tell yourself it is for the exercise, but because moving through the world, even alone and without destination, feels better than arriving back at the quiet house before you have to. You have started talking to yourself, just small things, narrating the day, commenting on what you are doing, and you noticed when it started, and you told yourself it was nothing, and now you do it without noticing, which is a different thing entirely. Your children call regularly, lovingly, with the particular guilt of people who know they do not call as often as they might, and the calls are good, and you are glad for them, and they last 12 minutes on average, and when they end the house is quieter than it was before they started, and you say nothing about any of this, not to your children, not to your doctor, not to the neighbor you wave to from the driveway, because saying it would require you to use the word that is not available to you, and you are not ready to use that word, and you are not sure you ever will be. It is a Wednesday evening in February, and you are doing nothing in particular, just sitting, just existing in the house that is always quiet, and you look up and your eyes land on the photograph on the mantelpiece. It is a photograph from 20 years ago, all of you together, somewhere warm, everyone younger, everyone laughing at something someone said just before the shutter clicked. And you remember the day, and you remember the joke, and you remember the feeling of being in the middle of something that you did not know at the time you should be memorizing. You look at your own face in the photograph, younger, easier, the face of a man surrounded by people without even having to try, and then you become aware of the room you are actually sitting in, and the quiet that is actually surrounding you, and the distance between those two things is so large that something in you simply gives way. You do not cry, or you almost do not cry, which for a man of your generation is as close as it comes, but you sit with what is happening in your chest without trying to explain it away, for the first time in a very long time, and what is happening is simply this: you are lonely, and you have been lonely for a long time, and you are tired of pretending otherwise. And then, in the same moment, with the same quiet certainty, you decide that being tired of it is enough of a reason to do something about it, and that doing something about it does not require you to announce anything to anyone, it only requires you to pick up the phone. You call your old friend Raymond, a man you have known for 43 years, a man who was at your wedding and at your wife's funeral and at every significant juncture of your adult life, and the phone rings 4 times and you are already composing an excuse for the voicemail when he picks up. "I was just thinking about you," Raymond says, and you do not know whether it is true, and it does not entirely matter, because the saying of it is its own kind of grace. You talk for an hour and 20 minutes, you know, because you check the screen after, surprised, and you do not say you are lonely. Not in those words, but you say everything that lonely is made of, and Raymond says the same things back, and somewhere in the middle of it, you understand that you are not the only one living in a quiet house and calling it fine. That is the thing nobody tells you, that the loneliness is not a personal failure or a particular deficiency. It is simply what happens when the structures that used to hold connection in place, work, school runs, neighborhood life, the daily friction of a shared world, slowly dissolve, and nothing intentional is built to replace them. Connection, after 65, does not happen by accident anymore. It has to be chosen, built, maintained with the same deliberate care you would give to anything that matters, and the only thing standing between you and it, Raymond says quietly near the end of the call, is the phone in your hand. Before you hang up, you make a plan. Not a large one, not a complicated one, just Tuesday lunch, the diner on the corner, the one you used to go to before the years made spontaneity harder. You put the phone down and you sit for a moment in the house that is still quiet, and you notice that the quiet feels different, not lighter exactly, not gone but inhabited differently, as if the call has left something in the room that was not there before. Tuesday lunch with Raymond lasts 3 hours, 3 hours that feel like 40 minutes, and before you leave the diner, you have agreed to make it a standing thing. Every Tuesday, the same table, no agenda required. You call your daughter that evening, not because you need to, not because it is her birthday or a holiday, not for any reason at all except that you want to talk to her, and she picks up on the second ring and says, "Dad, this is a nice surprise." You start saying yes to things you had been quietly saying no to. The neighbor's invitation for coffee, the community center notice about a Thursday morning group, the suggestion from your son that you join him and the grandchildren on a Saturday that you would previously have declined with a vague excuse about being tired. None of it is dramatic. There is no single moment, no revelation that rewrites everything. It is simply the slow and steady replacement of absence with presence, of silence with the ordinary sounds of other people, and the difference it makes is not small. The television is still on in the mornings. Old habits do not vanish overnight, but you notice that you are watching it now rather than just needing the sound of it, which means the need has been partly met somewhere else, and that is how you know things are actually changing. 6 weeks after the photograph, on a Tuesday that has become the best day of your week, you are sitting across from Raymond in the diner, and he is telling a story you have heard before, and you are laughing anyway, the real laugh, the one that does not require any effort. Later that week, your grandson asks you to tell him about when you were young, the kind of question only children ask, with the complete confidence that the answer will be interesting, and you tell him about the time you and Raymond drove to the coast with no map and no plan, and arrived somewhere neither of you had intended, but both of you needed. Your grandson listens to every word, and he asks you what happened next, and you tell him, and he asks again, and you tell him that too, and sitting there in the afternoon light, telling your stories to someone who wants to hear them, you understand something that the quiet house had almost made you forget. You are not the quiet house, you are the stories inside it, and the stories need somewhere to go, and the only thing that was ever standing between you and that somewhere was the word you were not ready to say, and the phone you had not yet picked up. And if you are sitting somewhere right now, in a house that is too quiet, telling yourself you are fine, choosing the television over the phone because the phone requires something that fine does not, I want you to hear this. You do not have to call it lonely. You do not have to use any word you are not ready for. You only have to pick up the phone and dial the number of someone who has known you long enough to not need an explanation. If this story felt like yours, hit subscribe. Every week there is a new one, and someone out there needs to hear it.